Most actors, when being exposed to fame, multi-million-dollar contracts, and public approval, tend to forget about their craft altogether to pursue a Hollywood lifestyle. Michael C. Hall, however, is arguably the complete opposite, with him staying true to himself after all these years. Despite rarely being involved in any paparazzi conflicts, with the few times he's come across them, Michael has always responded in a sense that he simply does not care for cameras to be on him aside from when he's doing the art of acting. In this TMZ video from 2011, a paparazzi asks him a controversial question whilst he's shooting for Dexter, in which he responds in a reasonable and respectful way.
Michael, do you think Dexter would get Casey Anthony?
You're confusing fiction and reality, brother.
In another video uploaded around the time Michael C. Hall was undergoing a divorce in 2008, he's confronted by Hollywood TV, where he surprisingly reacts in a way that shows how humble he is, but at the same time toying with the guy acting like his sociopathic counterpart most know him as.
What is your New Year's resolution?
Keep walking.
Keep walking?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Have a happy day.
You too, man.
Although some people might question why he shined away from the spotlight and other possible huge acting gigs outside of the Dexter universe, once you learn about the battles he's had to go through and his dedication to being an amazing actor, you will understand why he truly never let Hollywood into his head. Michael C. Hall was born on February 1st, 1971. His father, William, was a systems engineer manager for the International Business Machines Corporation, and his mother, Janice, was a mental health counselor at Lees McRae College. Although Michael was an only child, he had a sister who passed away in infancy before he was born. Unfortunately, his father would pass away in 1982 from prostate cancer at the age of 39, when Hall was only 11 years old. With him being an only child on top of his role model passing away, he would find himself interested in things like theater to help keep his mind busy during this hard time. There was always an impulse to perform in one way or another. Most of my experiences performing growing up were doing musicals, singing, and being in choirs. When asked about his father's death, he said, "At that age, 11, my father's death was a real marker. Certainly for a young boy, there's no good age, but I think I was on the cusp of a time in my life where I was starting to reach puberty to relate to my father, or as a result, I was becoming more like him." From that point on, Michael C. Hall started singing in a boys' choir in his youth. Later, in high school, he performed in musicals including Fiddler on the Roof, Oklahoma, and The Sound of Music. After graduating from Ravenscroft School in 1989, he enrolled at Richmond, Indiana's Earlham College, a liberal arts institution. Hall kept up his acting career at Earlham, where he starred in cabaret and other plays. In 1993, Hall received his Bachelor of Arts degree from Earlham College. Michael had told everyone he was planning on going to law school, but eventually realized he was never actually serious about it. This luckily led him to pursue a Master of Fine Arts degree from the Tisch School of Acting at New York University, one of the highest ranking acting/theater schools in North America. Although some people expect to be offered a big movie role in LA when coming out of a school like Tisch, Michael really kept pursuing what he liked doing regardless of the pay, which was theater. Hall's early theater career was marked by a series of notable performances that showcased his versatility and dedication to the craft of acting. After completing his Master of Fine Arts, he would immerse himself in the New York theater scene. He took on roles in various off-Broadway productions, including Shakespearean plays such as Macbeth, Cymbeline, Henry V, and Timon of Athens, with the New York Shakespeare Festival at the Public Theater. His initial breakthrough would come in 1999, where he was cast as the M-Key in the Broadway revival of Cabaret, directed by Sam Mendes.
Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Fremder, étranger, stranger.
This role garnered significant attention and acclaim, effectively elevating his status in the theater community. This would essentially open the door to a vast amount of opportunities, marking the beginning of his positively increasing domino effect. Hall's compelling performance in Cabaret caught the eye of Alan Ball, who was casting for the television series 6 Feet Under. Ball was impressed by Hall's work and offered him the role of David Fisher, a closeted funeral director. Although at the time it may have not seemed to be a major role, the show would come to be one of the highest rated television series in the early 2000s, marking David Fisher as one of Michael C. Hall's most popular characters, obviously alongside Dexter, which we will get to in a moment. During the series' 5-year run, Hall received nomination for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series and the AFI Male Television Actor of the Year Award. After the series ended as having one of the highest rated finale episodes of all time to this day, he returned back on tour doing more theater here and there. At the time, Michael most likely thought his work as David Fisher on 6 Feet Under would be hard to surpass, but his imagination couldn't possibly anticipate what would come next. Hall would continue to follow his passion for theater, staying in New York. However, this would all change when he received the initial script for Dexter. Intrigued by the macabre mix of dark humor, chilling violence, and a unique central character, he realized it was a big commitment and certainly appreciated that coming off of 6 Feet Under, but said he couldn't pass it up. Initially, Jim Lindsay, the creator of the Dexter books, was against the casting of Michael C. Hall as Dexter, but after hearing one line of him reading the script, his mind completely changed. In preparation for the role of Dexter Morgan, a 35-year-old blood spatter analyst working for the Miami Metro Police Department with dark secrets, he would go on to show just how committed he really was to accurately portraying a rather sociopathic character.
But you did stalk people in New York when you were looking for
That is true, yeah. When I was getting ready to play the part, just to feel what it would be like to do that, I picked out people when living in New York City. That's where I was living at the time, and followed them around just to see if I could get away with it.
For his performance as the title character, Hall won Golden Globe and Screen Actors Guild Awards in 2010 and the 2007 Television Critics Association Award for Individual Achievement in Drama. He also received 7 Emmy Award nominations, 5 additional SAG Award nominations, and 5 additional Golden Globe nominations. However, despite all the glory he got from playing Dexter Morgan, he would begin to go through rough patches throughout the show's long 8-season run. In 2006, during the show's first season, Hall and his co-star Jennifer Carpenter, who play brother and sister in the series, began to date in real life. Despite the common outcome of co-stars dating during the filming of their film or series and then falling out of touch due to busy schedules and such, they would eventually go on to get married in 2008. But unfortunately, Michael C. Hall would soon after have to hear some of the hardest news in his life, where he got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma towards the end of season 4. He kept the diagnosis secret on set, then began chemotherapy treatment the day after that season wrapped. One could only imagine how hard it must have been for him to go through this, considering his father's history with cancer when Michael was just a young boy.
Hodgkin's lymphoma, I mean, it was a very different situation for me. I had a really great prognosis. But the idea of turning 39 was always something that was in my head.
Hall eventually went public when he showed up to the Golden Globes and Screen Actors Guild Award ceremonies. Despite the show not being concluded since there were more seasons planned, he insisted on returning, even if it meant enduring chemotherapy treatment in the midst of it. I thought, well, I can treat this successfully, and if my hair falls out, which it did, I'll wear a wig during the 5th season. During this hard time, his co-star Jennifer Carpenter stood by his side, successfully beating the disease into remission and coming out on the other side. Unfortunately, in December of 2010, nearly 2 years after their elopement, Entertainment Weekly announced that the Dexter stars were divorcing. With this in mind, many fans believed it would ruin the on-screen chemistry the two had, considering their dynamic relationship on the show. Fortunately, they would go on to remain on good terms, with Jennifer Carpenter even saying that Hall is and always will be one of my best friends in the world, which goes to show how professional and dedicated to the craft these two actors are. star. Although the conclusion of Dexter's long 8-season run was negatively received by fans, the show's previous season's legacy would go down as a pop culture phenomenon, with at least someone having heard of it in one way or another in every household. This would conclude Hall's career as the sociopathic blood spatter analyst Dexter Morgan, right? Well, not exactly. The show, time and time again, has proven to be timeless in the sense that it appears to be revived long after its main counterpart ended back in 2013. On October 14th, 2020, it was announced on Twitter that Michael C. Hall would be returning as Dexter after a long 7 years of the original show being concluded. The creator of this spin-off stated that this revival isn't intended to act as season 9. Instead, it allows showrunners to write a second finale. After the bad taste left in people's mouths from the previous series finale, this was a chance to redeem the undeserved ending to the original show. During its 10-episode run, Dexter New Blood drew 8 million weekly viewers across all platforms, becoming the network's most watched series ever. The ratings for the new series being relatively above average, in most part because of Hall's performance. This would successfully end his portrayal as Dexter, right? Well, again, not exactly. See, the show ended up shooting itself in the chest, no pun intended, with the finale being received just as bad, if not worse, as the original ending. Luckily, Michael C. Hall's involvement with the Dexter universe is long from being over, as Showtime is milking it of every last drop. Fortunately, for the most part, planned future for Hall's involvement in this franchise is pretty promising from what we've already seen of him returning to voice the internal dialogue in the prequel to the original show. On top of this, it was recently announced that he will be returning to the screen in another spin-off titled Dexter Resurrection, and it's like they say, third time's the charm. Despite him having played this role for such a long time, he's actually humble and grateful that he even has the opportunity to revisit this character. With the way he speaks about returning as Dexter Morgan, it's really obvious that he loves acting, especially as this character who has followed him all these years. Michael Hall called me and said, "You know what? I've got Dexter in my bones. Clyde, you've got Dexter in your bones. Let's keep going." Now, after hearing this, you might think to yourselves that this just proved my entire video wrong and that he technically went down the Hollywood route, but that couldn't be more wrong. Hall deciding to play Dexter on and off every few years since the ending of the original show is a sign that he genuinely does it for the fun of the game. Unlike his first season in the show back in 2006, Michael C. Hall actually has creative decisions as to where his character goes and what the general story will be like. He's actively involving himself in many areas of the art creation process that goes into making a great series. Sure, he's most likely getting paid a good amount of money to return, but it's hard to believe he continues to act for the sake of fame, considering he has no social media account and already has quite enough money, to the point that he doesn't need to chase the bag. He has, after all these years, stuck true to himself and the complex art of acting, whether it be in theater or television, truly showing respect and dedication to the craft and what it means. Although the way he carries himself is considered normal, he never let Hollywood take away his deeply embedded passion for his love of art.